this past week, we kicked off our podcast with an incredible company. You saw a little bit about them in the teaser video, Draganfly. What I have to tell you is that that video broke all records. It's in the top 1% of all live streams right now. And you're not going to be surprised why when you see the CEO, Cameron Schell. He's going to be on here in a second. But Draganfly is this incredible company. I'd say they're a drone company, but there's so much more. There's a kiosk over here. So during the break, when the lights go on, go over there, read your biometrics. It's super cool. And you're going to have some demos here today. Oh, speaking of demos, one thing I have to tell you. As we say in the Air Force, flexibility is the key to air power. And you probably know that there is a state funeral here today. Well, the FAA did issue what they call a TFR, a temporary flight restriction. So they shut down the airspace over Las Vegas. And somehow also internally in the building. So we're not going to be flying drones in here today. But you are going to be seeing drones flown live in Israel, Miami, and South Carolina here in a bit. And we're going to have some other demos as well. And at some point, you get to maybe come up here, or we'll bring them down there, and you get to see these drones up close. You want to take some pictures. So, all right, let's talk about Draganfly and get Cameron Schell up here, because let's get the show on the road. Draganfly, award-winning, okay? Award-winning, industry leader in drone technology. They have been in existence for more than 20 years. They continue to revolutionize how drones are being used. So we're talking artificial intelligence, biometrics, all of these things, logistics. They're improving lives and safety. Oh, and get this, they're now also working with the Drone Racing League. So we're going to talk about that and why you should care. Because think about workforce development and inspiring the next generation of folks we need to be able to fly these drones for companies like yours. Okay, let's go ahead and roll that intro video. All right, if that didn't psych you up, woo! Let's get Cam Schell out here and Paul Mullen from Draganfly. Come on down. Woohoo! Come on in. All right, this is Cam to my right, and beyond that is Paul Mullen. So welcome, gentlemen. Cam, like I said, was just on my record-breaking podcast.
Congratulations.
And by the way, what I didn't mention, we also do a Clubhouse drop-in audio chat. We did that the week prior. That also broke all of our records as well. So we're on a roll there with Draganfly. And Cam here, if you want to know a little bit about him, he's been a serial entrepreneur since the age of 14. Okay, let that sink in for a second. Serial entrepreneur since the age of 14. So just been doing amazing things. And Paul, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do with Draganfly.
Yeah, my primary function at Draganfly, I support our operations, corporate strategy, and what I'm most proud of is our Vital Intelligence Suite. And that really involves us working with fantastic researchers as well as a great operational team to bring this exciting technology to market.
So Vital Intelligence, that's what we're going to talk about first, and we're going to have a little demo with that, right? So can you tell us a little bit about Vital Intelligence and what it is?
Yeah, I think Cam tells that story great. I mean, he's been involved since day one.
We were working with, so Draganfly, we've been around since the kind of the mid-late-ish 90s. And of course, early in our history, we were building a lot of airframes, lots of engineering, and then that started to migrate more into software and applications because, drones were becoming less hobby-focused, and how could you use that? And so we were doing lots of mapping and survey, accident reconstruction, forensic investigation type stuff. And then the applications became more sophisticated, and really today what we're focused on, though we still do all our manufacturing, airframe, all that type of stuff, is really more around AI. And so our view is that the drone industry in general has two kind of synergistic buckets right now that are dominating. One is data and one is delivery. And to be really effective in either one of those, you have to be much more than an airframe companies. So our customers are coming to us. They're not looking for an airframe that flies a bit longer, lasts, looks a bit better, whatever the case is. What they really care about is either the end result, which is what's the data telling us, or was the delivery successful. And so we've for the last number of years we've really been building out with great focus our AI bench. And so the culmination of this right now is the work that Paul has done with his teams. And so a couple of years ago, we had a sheriff's department approach us, and it was right at kind of the height of the pandemic. It was in Connecticut, and this small little town was kind of being accused of being the epicenter of the coronavirus that got into New York. And so they were looking at innovative ways in order to be able to combat the pandemic. So they asked if we could do, if their drones that we have with them could measure social distancing and mask wearing. And so we deployed that within a couple of months, and our AI was able to tell if people were family units, or if they were strangers meeting, or if how well they were socially distanced and mask wearing. And so they took that data and they adjusted a bunch of their resourcing and did a bunch of great work with it. So kind of toward the end of that deployment, one of the officers, she said to us, it'd be great if you could detect coronavirus. This is nice, but could you detect coronavirus? And she was kidding, and we all kind of laughed. But 9 months later, we deployed this technology that Paul will demonstrate to you, where literally from a drone, using the cameras, not a specialized camera, it's software and AI driven, we can detect heart rate, respiratory rate, heart rate variability, blood pressure, blood oxygen levels, conjugate, the list goes on. We won't show everything here today, but and then since then we've now deployed it onto kiosks and telemedicine systems and smartphones and the rest of it. It's game-changing software, and again, it's we're a drone company, but really what our client cared about was being able to detect infectious conditions, and drones collect data better than anything else in the world because of the sensors and the platform that we have. And so this is an innovative example of, I think, that will be game-changing.
That's awesome. So, and I know you deployed this technology at Alabama State.
Yeah, we've deployed the technology into multiple universities. Alabama State has been the leader in this, and no surprise, they probably have if not the lowest COVID infection rate in the country historically over the last couple of years. The incredible leadership there. We have deployed it in other universities who got them, found themselves in tough situations and needed to raise awareness on campus and such. We've deployed it into correctional facilities, sheriff's departments, federal buildings, manufacturing floors. Anywhere where you need to get an immediate assessment of the health condition of a particular population or geographic.
And for this crowd, Homeland Security, beyond law enforcement, right? Homeland Security and disaster response and disaster management as an example. We had that horrific building collapse in Miami as an example. Yeah. Let's just assume for a second there were people in the rubble. We could fly a drone. Could this technology be used to help triage, where the people that were in the most need, where to send those resources first?
Yeah, so we are standing up this technology today in private partnership with an organization in Texas, along with emergency response systems, for two primary use cases. One is immediate drone response, DFR, drone first response. So it gets on site, and you're actually able to assess the people on site. You can tell if somebody's in shock from these vital signs. So that's one application. Those drones will also be used to deliver medical supplies and such. But also, if you could imagine, a disaster response where you've got a flood or an earthquake or whatever, and you've got drones deployed and they're getting there before the boots or the trucks can get on site, providing all that logistical information, road information, power information, whatever is required, but also, triaging hey, there's a group of survivors here, there's a family here, here's their condition, this condition of this family over here is not as good, they need this equipment now, this is where you've got to get to. You know, that immediate situational awareness for it. But I see very quickly we'll be in a situation where, you know, the DFRs will be providing, you know, vital sign statistics and information back to the responders arriving that's going to save, you know, not just money, but time and lives.
Wow, that's amazing. So are you going to show us how this works?
Absolutely, and I think before we drop into that, I think it would be fantastic as well to discuss a little bit what we're actually doing, how we're doing this. And I think,
please.
you know, the reason that we love, you know, Cam telling that story is that it's always a big gap to bridge around how do you do drones and health technology. And so, you know, as Cam mentioned, our AI bench is fantastic. We've got relationships with some, you know, very dynamic research groups in North America and in Australia. The Australians do all the heavy lifting. The North Americans figure out a way to flip it right side up because it's all upside down. And really what they had done years before COVID was started some pilot projects monitoring preterm infants in the ICU in markets that didn't have adequate health supplies. And so they were able to create, using neurologic and AI and machine vision, a platform that would recognize markers in the face and then be able to build algorithms that would do things like count the rhythmic movement of our chest to, you know, monitor respiratory rate, looking at the perfusion of blood through the vasculature of our face, be able to calculate things like oxygen saturation and blood pressure. And it's a fantastic system they built. You know, if you look at it in practical terms, magnifying the video feeds so that you can visually see all of these things, then we can leverage those neural networks to count them and calculate all of those biometrics that, you know, we think that this platform can be deployed ubiquitously on almost anything with a camera. It's very device agnostic. And, you know, as Cam alluded to, you know, we see the future of this platform as being able to deliver, you know, amazing health outcomes, both individually at the community level and then at the government and policymaking level as well with the underlying data.
Well, I remember, Cam, I think it was you that told me, maybe it was on Clubhouse, that, you know, there's a lot of telemedicine now, and you're having a conversation with your doctor over the computer, that with that camera, the doctor can now read your vital statistics long distance using this technology and the software.
Remote patient monitoring for sure. It's an immediate application.
That's amazing.
Literally, you can do it over your cell phone or your smartphone with this application as well.
Wow. All right.
Let's do a quick demonstration. And as mentioned, we would have to do this on a drone. Unfortunately, we could not. So we've pivoted. Now, the camera that we're using here is an everyday webcam, and we'll look for the tech team to bring our feed up on the screen. I'm going to step in front of the camera.
We can see your face there, and it says scanning. Please keep still. Wait 15 seconds. That's fast. 15 seconds. Paul, you must be nervous. No, actually, your heart rate's not too bad.
There we go.
Blood pressure's looking good, so good on you.
Yeah, so that's what we're looking at. In this application, we're really looking for the presence of infectious conditions. So we're looking for an elevated heart rate. In our kiosk, for example, we've deployed a medical-grade thermal camera that's able to really quickly screen for temperature. We've been able to introduce logic based on CDC guidelines for thermography to pass-fail. And as a result, we're able to, again, really quickly identify from a triage perspective or an adjunct screening perspective, you know, what potential conditions are present with this subject. And we've seen many applications from whether it's in the correctional facilities, screening patient or screening, you know, new subject intake, whether it's at school, screening students as they arrive. We really think that the applications here are potentially endless.
All right. Woo!
Thank you.
And folks can try this out on your kiosk that's over there.
They sure can.
Later, yeah. So
certainly.
So again, when we have a break, just go over there in the corner. There is a kiosk. You can check this out for yourself. See how your heart rate is right now and your blood pressure. Awesome. And we talked about some of these use cases. What did we miss? Battlefield applications.
Yeah. So there are a couple of number of other use cases that have turned up to be quite important. Maybe a couple quick things of note. You know, there are a lot of companies out there that were using, you know, thermal or even infrared to measure temperature, and you know, and saying, hey, well, we can detect if somebody has a fever. The challenge with a lot of infectious conditions, and in particular COVID, is that, you know, temperature can be very asymptomatic, and you know, you take an aspirin and you don't have a temperature, and there's 55 other reasons you can have a temperature. But if you've got a high heart rate and a low SpO2, you've got an infectious condition. So being able to come up technologies that could, step in front of, these asymptomatic type problems was really important. And then being able to do it on a drone platform, which, we were really excited to demonstrate here today, which obviously we couldn't because of the restrictions, but, that's the precision that, is now tested. And because it was designed to be, an in-field situation, as you had mentioned. So battlefield applications are obviously combatant assessment, whether friendly or not friendly. It could be, collateral assessment. Who else is in the field that we need to, what are their conditions out there? Are they nervous? Are they displaying, a suspicious activity type of physiological conditions? Sniper verification. That's a live pilot that's undergoing right now. The ones that I really like is basically relief agencies using this. So before they're delivering Ebola vaccines into a village, they're actually flying the drones and getting the assessment of the village, to get indications of infectious condition rates, including the people that are coming out to receive the vaccines. Lets them give assessment, should they be delivering the vaccines in by drone, who's going to be, how many people are they going to expose to it, what's it, so these are all the very practical applications that we see this being put to work with today.
Now you're working with the Drone Racing League, okay, with this technology, right? So should we pivot to that and talk a little bit about that? Or did we miss anything that you wanted to cover?
No, I think we captured just about everything. I think the common themes as we look at common missions in a connected world, which of course being the theme of the week. I think we look at being able to really extend the platform anywhere and adapt it as well. So I think that's a key piece. We're looking at these conditions with COVID in mind. The platform is very easily adaptable for other infectious conditions and then other potential health monitoring, range of motion, wound care. Those are all discussions that we're having in terms of the integration into the platform. And again, a way to increase accessibility to these metrics and thus drive positive health outcomes.
All right, and Kim, you mentioned data being one of the two major pillars of what we're using drones for and kind of this technology as well. That, I believe, is your plug-in with the Drone Racing League is kind of data as one big piece of that. So I think we do have a video.
Yeah,
should we roll that first?
Yeah, you bet. That'd be
All
great.
right, let's check that out. This week, by the way, on Wednesday night, I don't know if you all were looking out your windows or walking by the area outside the T-Mobile Stadium, but the Drone Racing League's World Championship occurred right here in Las Vegas Wednesday night. And this video shows the drone pilot, the racing pilot, with the little green square around his face. So tell us how you're integrating this technology with DRL and the racing and what you hope to achieve with that.
Yeah, sounds right. So we're really honored and lucky to be selected and able to work as a sponsor with the Drone Racing League. And I just got to throw this out there. The DRL it's not about racing. They're a technology company. Yeah. They really know what they're doing, and they develop incredible product. And when you think about that whole production, it's the integration of like safety and communication and engineering and parts now of AI. And those are all the components that you actually have to integrate in order to have a successful drone operation. And so we really want to push the envelope with them this year with the Drone Racing Draganfly Innovation Lab. And so we've got G5 drones and autonomous drones and a number of different initiatives that we're really going to be pushing in with the league this year, so that we can have them battle tested method, if you will, as we bring them out to commercial markets. One of the areas, obviously, was to be able to use the VI technology. And so a lot of people, they question whether, e-sport is actually a sport. But when you put the VI technology, and put a camera on the racers, and they're racing, whether it's in a sim or whether it's a live race, you see what's going on physiologically with them. And so they're actually using that data to make themselves better racers, to design the courses, to look at what the crowd is reacting to, and quite frankly, now even DraftKings, who makes a line on the DRL, is kind of looking at it and going, hey, is this important draft racing line data? So it's really interesting what's coming out of it, but it is a real use case which demonstrates not just the uses of the technology, but actually the actual buoyancy and solidity of the technology as well.
Well, we're almost out of time, I think, for this session here, but we're going to get you on this panel later, so we're excited to talk to you more, Cam. And thank you so much, Paul, for showing us the VI demonstration.
Amazing. No, thank you.
I believe we have one more video to roll.
At Draganfly, we are committed to continuing to invest in future innovators that will build technology that, above all else, provide solutions once thought impossible.
All right. Woohoo! Thank you both so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're incredible.